Welcome to the 4Cs podcast for SAP Business One, brought to you by Third Wave Business Systems. I'm Mike Ham, and my colleague Tyson McMurrin, bringing you a podcast that takes a deeper dive into the ERP system that is SAP Business One. We'll be hosting product experts and members of the Business One community, helping you, a Business One user, get the most out of SAP Business One. Hello and welcome to episode 5. Today, Tyson and I will be talking about core and connection and the benefits of a connected enterprise. If you remember last week in episode 4, we talked about areas of disconnection, and we'll be walking you through now what the benefits are and really diving into what to connect, the importance of that real-time connection, and where are those benefits of a connected enterprise, and giving you some examples. We'll start back with a quote from last week. SAP Business One connects and streamlines key operational processes, providing real-time insights for actionable decisions that drive profitable growth. And Tyson, let's discuss this quote again. Let's discuss it through the lens of the benefits of connection, as opposed to last week where we talked about the areas of disconnection.
Yeah, Mike, this quote, every time I read it, there's more things that come out of it. And the ones that come out today is streamlining operational processes and the actionable decisions. And then ultimately, everything is kind of revolving around that profitable growth, which is, an SME's objective, right, is growth. Remember when we talked about the areas of disconnect, Mike, it was operational processes. And remember I was saying, look for less obvious cases, and, no area of disconnect is too small.
Yep.
And ultimately, when we get that information in our hands, it really allows us to have those insights. So looking forward to, highlighting a little bit more around this.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of us who didn't get a chance to join us last week, let's talk about just a brief overview of what we discussed as far as the disconnected processes. This slide kind of highlights the areas of the manual work, the email, the printing out, the faxing even. Talk us through kind of just a quick overview of what we discussed last week in areas of disconnection and places where folks should be mindful.
Yeah, so last week we talked about looking into processes where we're either extracting information from the core, or we're keying information into the core from other systems or from Excel or from paper. Or that you see a period of time that we have information that's within our organization, but it's not in the system of record. That's an area of disconnect. And ultimately, Mike, this is where we're busy working data versus busy analyzing data. And if we can make that paradigm shift, you saw in that quote, right? Actionable insights that drive profitable growth. So that's what we at Third Wave focus on, right? Is the 4 Cs and focusing on profitable growth.
As the original SAP Business One Gold Partner in North America, Third Wave Business Systems in Wayne, New Jersey partners with hundreds of growing businesses, and we work hard to ensure that every one of them is grounded in the 4 Cs. With SAP Business One at the core. Connected with their business ecosystem, enabling everyone to communicate with the core, and empowered with the control needed to thrive in a digital world. The 4 Cs, Third Wave, and you. Talk to us.
So now that you understand what to look out for the areas of disconnection, let's talk about the why. Why is this so important? Why do we care? What are the benefits of connection? Let's talk about this first one here. All right, immediacy of data to quickly adjust plans and respond to trends. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, this can mean a lot of different areas, but if we're thinking about from an inventory perspective, Getting real-time insight into inventory demand is going to allow you to adjust your production. It's going to allow you to adjust your purchase orders, and to be able to respond to demand trends in order to, ramp up on supply when you start to see, demand increase. When
Absolutely.
we talk about
that's important, right? Because think about now, right, with the pandemic and all the shifts that's created. If you have that connection, right, if you're connected and you have something like a major event like that take place, you're going to be better prepared, right, to adjust on the fly.
That's right. And then if we look at the immediacy of data, when we start looking at it from the getting the information into the system so that we can invoice out.
Yep.
So service orders, for example, if we have our technicians out in the field, they're writing things onto triplicate forms. They're turning in those triplicate forms on Friday. Somebody's reviewing those on Monday. Maybe we have questions of the technician on Tuesday. We get answers. Wednesday we create the invoice, and by Friday we get it out. We've lost a week already before the customer even has it in their hands if we emailed it.
Exactly.
And then if we mailed it, we have another week of delay because of the pandemic and the mail system being stressed right now.
And that's a good point about, you said, we lost a week, right, of through just pure inefficiencies in a sense. So the next point, improve customer service through insight and behavior analysis. So there's a couple different ways we can improve customer service. One being just, getting the product to the customer quicker by streamlining our processes. But another with this is through insight and behavioral analysis, right? Talk about how, connecting that customer data, right, allows us to draw better insights and understand our customers' buying trends a bit better.
The e-commerce side of things is really kind of taking off on the B2B side of things around, improving the analysis of and predictive behaviors of the consumer when they're engaging with you. But when we talk about improved customer service, Mike, this is where if we get out of the transactions, Mike, and into the interactions and streamlining those interactions, the customer is going to have a better experience, and we're going to have a more profitable transaction as well.
Well, I'm glad you said that too, customer experience, because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. Improve customer service through insight and behavioral analysis. It allows you to create, those are the two buzzwords, right? Customer experience or customer journey, right? But what's it really mean when you're talking about the core, when you're talking about SAP Business One, when you're talking about your overall strategy? It means just that, right? You input data based on what your customer has done, purchased, buying trends, what have you. You tie that all back to the core, and then you draw on that, and you're able to understand, okay, this person likes to purchase at this point in the month, or this person likes to purchase, this select group of products. Cool. Now we can create something for them that highlights these products. We can send out an email blast on the first of the month because we know that they like to purchase that. We can create that based on those insights, based on the data that we put back in the core, right? That's also, these are great because they all tie into each other, right? The next one, instantaneous product trends for better forecasting, right? Talking about when do my customers like to purchase my specific products, right? You talked about inventory, right? So this all ties back into, okay, if I can understand what products are purchased when, because my data is now in the core, that allows me to forecast better. That's tremendously important for a number of reasons. What else do you see out of instantaneous product trends for better forecasting?
Identifying product trends by the minute is key, because in today's age of internet influencers, maybe they mention your product, and all of a sudden you see this huge uptick in orders. And if if you're dealing with the areas where we have these speed bumps that are slowing us down to getting that information into the core, we're not even going to see that item trending until probably a day at least before or at least a few hours before we started to see that demand increases. And this is where the prior point you said they're all interconnected. Well, the ability to see that happening in real time, Mike, is key, because now if we need to order more supply, or if we need to order these items from our supplier, and we can see this trend and this instantaneous uptick of these items, there's two things that we can do. One is, where's this demand coming from, right?
Yep.
Oh, wow, it's coming from an internet influencer. Oh, it's coming from an SEO campaign that we're doing. So now all of a sudden you can replicate that success for other items, right? You can also gain so much faster response to that uptick by seeing the information. Because if all we're doing is keying orders all day long and we're not analyzing where those orders coming from, look at the trend line on this product compared to this product. They're basically the same product. Why is one trending better than the other? Oh, let's go and spend some time analyzing that. That's where we in business can really start to provide value to shareholders, right? Is
Yep.
by identifying trends and identifying success early. Not only is that going to allow us to forecast, but it's also going to just really kind of allow us to grow profitably.
No, absolutely. And so with the next one, increased operational efficiency. We talked about three of them, right? We talked about using product trends for better forecasting, talked about drawing on customers' behavior and making adjustments based on each customer, talked about adjusting plans, responding to those trends. Those are all examples of operational efficiencies, right? We're doing things more quickly based on better data. We're doing things better based on better data. What are some other areas where operational efficiencies increase due to connection?
If you're running any kind of warehouse facility, getting the inventory into the system as quickly and efficiently as possible is critical. Where are these items? And then you can start to do things like, let's move all of our faster moving items up into the front area of our warehouse. So you can start to go to like an ABC trending of your inventory, so that you can have your C items, so that you can reduce steps. The operational efficiency around something as simple as like a tool sign out, which isn't even like a core system thing, right? And these are those little things that I was talking about, right? Like another area of connection is around credit card processing, Mike, payment processing, operational efficiency through connection on that. Stop keying the client's credit card number into the terminal, and let's capture that information in a better fashion. Let's settle these cards, the pre-authorizations and settling processes. If you're struggling in payments, there's better ways around that.
Yeah, that's we could go on. We could do a whole segment based on where and how many different ways we're doing things more efficiently.
That's right.
So, let's talk about intelligent management information. What does that mean?
Well, Mike, we'll probably do a podcast on this at a later date, in regards to analytics. I'm sure we will. But, the information on your analytics is only as good as the data in the system, right?
Yep.
And that's where that first bullet point of the immediacy of data becomes critical, because if management's dealing with 3-4 day old information, or 3-4 week old information, because we're waiting for month end and we're waiting for the accruals, or whatever it is, or some companies are probably even not really getting a real insight into company performance other than what's my receivables, what's my bank. They probably don't have a good insight into how the company is performing until year end, and that's too late. Having good management information at your fingertips just going to allow you to pivot a lot faster, or to feed, to fuel the flames of growth in areas where we've identified those trends, right?
No, absolutely. What that means to me is really better collaboration, right? Better visibility. If management's able to understand, better what's going on in receivables, what's going on in the warehouse, what's going on in sales better, that's going to allow them to make better decisions, right? That's the intelligent management information. That's just better visibility across the organization. That's going to lead to better collaboration. That's ultimately going to lead to more success across the organization.
Right. And that leads us to the last bullet point, Mike, which is, if we have those KPIs, and if we have, the information at our fingertip, now we can start to implement, real-time feedback to employees in regards to, the behaviors that we're seeing within the system from an employee performance standpoint,
right,
or from a vendor performance. So, now we can start to, feed that information into the system in a we can kind of close the loop, Mike, right?
Yeah. It's allowing your organization to reflect, right, and adjust, right? That's right. It's intaking that data, understanding it, disseminating it organizationally wide,
right, and
then allowing folks to make decisions based on that. Okay, this isn't working here. We need to change that there, and that's how you get better, right? We've noticed we've been doing, XYZ like this, and we've noticed over here a trend where we're performing better by doing it differently. Okay, let's apply that to this area, right? That's what tying that back to the core is going to allow you to do.
Well, and Mike, I know in your prior job, we know that there's a bunch of technologies coming around artificial intelligence, IoT devices, 5G, machine learning, all of these topics. If we don't have a good handle on our data, all we're going to have is garbage data at light speed now.
Exactly.
Right. So this is where, the benefits of that connection and we've talked about, all these areas of connection, and we haven't even really used any of those buzzwords of machine learning or IoT, but if those devices are there, those are areas where you want to connect, and that's where we can talk about this as we go through this journey of the 4 C's podcast. But it's really around getting things in order, and doing it in a manner, Mike, that is achievable for your organization, right? Because you don't want to just throw all of these things at the wall all at once, but if you can start to chip away at some of those blocks of information and getting that information into your system in a real-time fashion, as the quote mentioned, that insight is really going to allow you to drive profitable growth. And I think that's a good way for us to segue into this quick little case study example of a B2B portal and what that can do for your organization.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's talk about how, this really works. This has been applied. What we just talked about has been applied, and here's a true use case of what an organization did by doing this.
10,000 a year of removing admin overhead and, looking up customer order information and giving that back to the customer. Well, that doesn't even measure the customer benefit that we talked about on the benefit slide earlier. And then on the 30,000 a year in report generation, how much of this is really allowing the company to if management can view this information in a real-time fashion and gain better insights, well, that's where you look at the over-under forecasting that they removed. Hundreds of thousands of dollars saved in removing the blind spot to their available inventory. And I talked about that in podcast 4, Mike, is the blind spots, right? And this is a key example of if we have a B2B sales portal, the customer can now self-serve themselves. Sales forecasting is going to get a lot better because we're going to be able to see trends. Yep. And that's going to allow us to have the right inventory at the right time for your customer. And that's what growth is all about, and especially profitable growth, right? Is really by optimizing every single investment dollar that you have in your organization, being able to optimize that to maximize your return on investment. And absolutely. And if you have areas that you want to see improvements and you don't know where to start, reach out to us. We can help you.
Yeah, and this just shows this works, right? As simply as including a sales portal, and you're capturing a ton of information you never had and putting it in a place where everyone has access to it. Everyone can draw on it, draw those organizational efficiencies, make actionable changes, draw inferences and apply that to different areas of the organization, because we're identifying trends where we're successful now, and trends that we didn't know existed, trends we didn't realize. We can apply those, and that's tremendous, and that's going to move us forward. And Tyson, thank you. This is a great use case, and we'll include this in the show notes for those of you who want to take a deeper dive and look into this example. And wanted to thank all of you listeners for joining us. I appreciate it. Another episode of the 4Cs podcast with me, Mike Ham, and Tyson McMurran here at Third Wave. Happy to help you, as always, all the listeners, understand the 4Cs better and apply them to your organization. So Tyson, thank you once again, and thank you, listeners.
Thanks, everybody. Stay safe and stay connected.